the correct thing to do. Duru, can you hear me now? And can everybody hear me so that we know where we are and how we are progressing from where we are? I think everything is okay now. All right, so you're welcome to this particular event. This is Academy of Scholarships and Transitions, and as most of you already know, I am a scholar of the PTDF, doing a PhD here in the UK. I've been on the scholarship for quite a number of years now, and what I want to do today is to share with us best practices and the experiences I've gathered over the years that have kind of helped me to that were able to like help me win the scholarships, and also the experiences that have helped my friends to win this scholarship as well. So if you are here today, I want to encourage you to stay tuned and to stay around, because you are in the right place, and being in the right place means that you're going to learn from the right person. And I will be as open as possible, as honest as possible when discussing with us and when answering questions. However, for those of us who are here, the first thing I would always encourage you to do is to identify yourself in the comment section. I love to know the people I'm talking with. I love to know who I'm speaking with, who is engaging with me at every given time. And if you are here, please just let me know in the comment section that, oh, you are joining from Enugu State, you're joining from Nigeria, you're joining from the UK, anywhere. Just let me know in the comment section. It helps me to organize the live streams better. Then there is something else that you can do since you are here, and is to like the live stream. So usually when you go to that place where you are writing a comment, if you click on the comment section, you will see something like I think a little arrow there. If you click on it, you will see a love sign that's red in color. It doesn't matter how many times you click on that red hat, you will just be liking the live stream as many times as possible, for two reasons. Because it's going to help us to bring in more people into the live stream. It always makes sense if we're able to do it. And just in case, if you're also somebody who creates content here, anytime you go live, try to encourage people to like the live stream, because it helps the algorithm to recommend the live stream to the people. We're 8 people watching now. I don't think we should wait any further. If you're on any platform, this is just the right time to share the live stream again. Let the people know that we are here, we have started, and everything is progressing just now. So PTDF scholarship application process, that's what we are discussing today. And for those of you who may not know, PTDF is Petroleum Technology Development Fund. It's not Petroleum Trust Fund, it's Petroleum Technology Development Fund. And there's a reason why I'm saying this. You get to understand it as we make progress in the discussion. All right, Duru is joining us all the way from Lagos. Thank you so much, Duru. I hope more people join, and I hope more of your friends are able to come around today. So the PTDF is designed to support the development of local capacity for the oil and gas industry in Nigeria. Yeah, I hope that sank in. PTDF is designed, or was established, to support the development of local capacity for the oil and gas industry. What this means is that over the years, people have been coming to Nigeria, and foreigners have been coming to work for the oil and gas industry in Nigeria. Of course, we have a whole lot of local talents and skilled manpower working in the oil and gas industry, but it's never enough. We still have more room and more capacity that can be filled up through the continuous development of local talent, and that's what the PTDF was established for. Now, this is very, very critical for everybody who is intending to win the scholarship, whether at this application stage or at the interview stage, because the process of the scholarship is, just give me a moment, please. Let me, I want to join this live stream on my computer so that I'll be able to follow the comments on a bigger screen. It will help me to concentrate more on what I am doing because the comments are already coming in and we're just getting started. So you need to understand this basic thing, whether at the point of application and even at the point of your interview, because it's one of the things that has to resonate continuously through your application and through your interview process. If you're not able to resonate or make this resonate clearly, you will struggle at the interview and you will even struggle to be shortlisted for the scholarship. All right, but because you are here today, you're going to get the points clear and everything is going to be well with you. All right, so the application is open, and as you know, the application is open from now till the 28th of May. Usually, when the PTDF scholarship application portal opens, something happens at the beginning. It's always choked up, like there's always going to be a lot of traffic coming to the website. Sometimes it feels like the website even crashes. And then towards the end of the application period, is also going to be another rush where people are bombarding the website with traffic and trying to get things done, trying to do this and to do that and to meet up and all of that. So you want to be in a position where you're able to submit your application, maybe not on the first day, because on the first day you probably don't have all the information, you don't have all the documents, you've not gone through your SOP well enough, you are still trying to fine-tune one thing or the other, your research proposal is still being fine-tuned and all that. But you don't want to wait until the last day of the application because the website can catch up on you and you'll be somewhere there struggling to apply, struggling to upload this, to upload that, and the time would have gone and you would have missed out on the opportunity. But this is what you want to do. At least try to submit your application before that last day of the application window. So if I'm in your shoes, I'll try to ensure that my application has been submitted latest on the 25th or latest on the 26th of May. Latest. I mean, this is in a situation where you are waiting for some kind of extra documents and all that and all that. But again, you also must remember that you don't need to be in a maximum rush to submit your application. Don't be in maximum rush to submit your application. The reason I say so is because there are people, for instance, who at the moment do not have any membership of any professional body. And I want to say, and this is based on experience, if you don't have professional body membership, you may struggle with the scholarship application. This is the reason. The scholarship says that people from 2-2 and above can apply. All right. Now, but a majority of the times, those who are going to win the scholarship will come with higher results than a 2-2. The times when a 2-2 applicant stands a chance of winning is if the person has a good work experience relevant to the area of study that the person is applying for. And secondly, if the person who has a 2-2 has exceptional interview skills. I mean, exceptional interview skills, because otherwise you are in competition with people. This is not to discourage anybody with a 2-2 from applying. I'm just trying to emphasize the fact that you need to upgrade yourself, like upgrade. You need to take advantage of other areas of the scholarship application rating to be able to outcompete those who are coming with a first class and with a second class upper. So you don't need to rush to submit your application. If you have a 2-2, for instance, and you are planning to submit, you already have some work experience and all that, don't rush to submit if you don't have a membership of professional bodies. Now, I believe all of us know what professional bodies are, but a professional body is basically a group of people within your profession that are advancing the course of a profession, maybe like, or regulating the practice of your profession in the country. For those of us who come from pure engineering backgrounds, you can be a member, a registered engineer. That's, you have membership of COREN, for instance, or you can be a member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. And it doesn't really matter if you are a graduate member or a professional member, just be a member at least a graduate member of that professional body. With that, you are able to apply. Guys, please don't fail me on the liking of this live stream. I know that many of us are here, want to learn, but the learning makes it's better when we learn together. And the more you tap on that love button, the more people the live stream is going to attract. And then it's better we all learn together so that I don't have to leave my research all the time to answer one question and to different people all the time. So the point I was trying to make is, for people who are from, say for instance, the physics background or from chemistry background, if you are a member of the Nigerian Society or of the Nigerian Chemical Society, you are also in good standing. That membership stands. And for those of us who come from oil and gas engineering background, membership of petroleum Society of Petroleum Engineers is always going to be a positive for you. Now, there are many professional bodies that you can join. You can join NAPE, you can join, NAPE is for geophysicists, but even as an engineer, I had membership of NAPE. I am a member of NAPE, even though I've not paid my dues for this period, but I'm a registered NAPE member and all of that. So you need to cool down and secure this membership of professional bodies as before you submit your application. Now, a lot of people will say, but I have this other one, I have the other one. Whether or not you have a first class or you have a second class upper, I want to remind you that this scholarship is highly competitive. The scholarship is highly competitive. And I'll tell you a story of what happened to me in my first application. I applied 2 times. It was in the second application that I won the scholarship. In the first case, I had a first class in my bachelor's, I had a distinction in my master's, but I missed out that year. And why did I miss out? There was this guy from my state. I think he was a graduate assistant in UN at University of Nigeria, Nsukka at the time. He also applied, and then we went for the interview. And after the results came out, I had to check the profiles of those who won the scholarship from my state. And I saw the profile of the guy. I think he had a first class from UNN. He did his master's in Japan. He had multiple awards, like award of this, award of that, best student in this, those kind of stuff. He had different awards that he used to apply. And that year, awards was what PTDF was using in place of professional body memberships, which in my case was a disadvantage because I finished from a school where they really didn't care about awards. I was like the best student in my drilling engineering class at both bachelor's and master's degree. Like I was really good. I was really good with what I was doing in school, but my school was not it's not that school that recognizes awards all the time. So all those awards, I didn't have them. So when I came, I didn't come with awards. I came with the first class, obviously, distinction. Every other thing was on point. Interview was even great to a large extent, even though we had like a couple of arguments with, should I call them arguments? Maybe like having to explain this and explain that. People pushing back on some of the things, the ideas I presented at the time. But the key factor was I did not provide enough awards at the time. And these awards, I think that year, each of the awards had like 2 points awarded to it. That's how competitive the scholarship can be sometimes. So there were like 2 points awarded to these awards. And I had like most of my secondary school awards from Chemical Society of Nigeria, from my secondary school and all those things. I had them, I think even from the National Mathematical Center and all those things. But those ones were secondary school awards. They didn't count as regards the PTDF scholarship. And good enough, I was applying for a PhD, and secondary school awards are too old to count for that, although somehow they still count WAEC in the process. But so of all the awards I brought, it was only one that counted. That was the scholarship award that funded my bachelor's and my master's degree. And because of that, I lost maybe around 4 points to that guy. Now remember, both of us had first class in bachelor's. Both of us had like distinctions in our masters. So if I am losing 4 points to him, what is the assurance I have that I'm going to regain those 4 points in the interview? I believe you are getting the point I'm trying to make. So the reason I'm emphasizing on this is the professional body membership might cost you a little bit of money, But I am not also saying that you should go and break your bank account in order to register with a professional body. There are professional bodies that are very expensive. There are some professional bodies that are relatively affordable, and some will give you a discount as a graduate. Some can give you a discount if you are unemployed. Say for instance, if you are, like when I was doing my national youth service, I was to renew my membership of the Society of Petroleum Engineers, and I simply wrote them an email explaining that I'm on national service. I'm not, this is a voluntary service, more or less. I'm not on a salaried job. And because I'm not on a salaried job, this and that, they waived that renewal fee for me during that period. And the other thing is, I don't know if this is going to work this year or not, but in previous years, PTDF doesn't really go as detailed as finding out if you have renewed your membership of that professional body before coming. So it's good enough to be a member of a professional body. It's best if you can renew your membership. But if your financial situation makes it that you cannot pay the renewal fee, just print out the portal from your portal. That's evidence that you are a member, and submit it. The key thing is you must be a member of a professional body. I don't know how many they will be looking for this year, but my advice is get at least two memberships of professional bodies. For engineers, get membership of the, what's it called again, Nigerian Society of Engineers. You can also get the what's it again, like each of the engineering departments, or each of the engineering areas will have like a departmental level body that oversees the operations of that particular sector of engineering. Say for instance, civil engineers or mechanical engineers or chemical engineers. For petroleum engineers like myself is the Society of Petroleum Engineers. And there will always be sister associations. Like in Nigeria, Society of Petroleum Engineers is a sister, no, I would say that NAPE is a sister association of Society of Petroleum Engineers. So you can always find those allied ones, those ones that are related to your field. Go there, register, submit an application, and get yourself acquainted. 23 people watching this live stream just right now. You're all welcome to the live stream, and I want to encourage everybody who is watching to let me know where you are joining from in the comment section. I can see Chris Phillips is joining us from Lagos. Who else is joining us from where? I really don't know the comments. I even can't keep up with them. Okay, so Duru is joining us from Lagos as well. So please, if you are joining us from Lagos, just let me know the name of the city in the comment section. That's going to be helpful. And then as you are typing that comment, look to the right hand side of the comment section. You will see something like a heart there. As much as possible, please tap on that heart that you see along that side. It's going to help the live stream, and it's going to help us to be able to reach more people during this live stream. Thank you so much for doing that. I trust in you, of course. That's we're all cooperative. Now, what does the PTDF scholarship application entail? Before I tell you what it entails, let me tell you something that's going to motivate you, so that you put in your best foot, or you put your best foot forward for this particular application. PTDF is what I call a total package of scholarship, and is as they described it. If you look at the advertisements that they put out, you will see where they told you that they are going to cover everything they're going to cover the cost of your health insurance. And that's not all. They're going to cover your visa application. They're going to cover your tuition. They're going to cover your stipend, and they're going to cover your tickets to and fro. That's your ticket when you're coming to the country, and your ticket back to Nigeria when you are done with your studies. Now, that's not even all, because when you go for your medical tests in Nigeria, for those who are coming to the UK, if you go for your medical test during the period of your visa application, PTDF is also going to cover that cost for you. And it's not just that they cover the cost of your visa application, they go as far as hiring a visa agent to do that application for you. So all you have to do is to provide the necessary information, and then every other thing is for you to go sleep and rest. That's how good the scholarship is. Now, I know that many of you will be wondering, how much does PTDF pay? In the UK at the moment, those of us who are in the UK, I don't know exactly how much they pay in France and how much they pay in Germany and Malaysia. But those of us who are in the UK and doing PhDs, we are paid somewhere over £21,000 annually as stipend. This is not what you use to pay your school fees. Your school fees is paid by the PTDF. In fact, I don't even know when my fees get paid because I'm not supposed to be in that chain of events. And if at all, for any reason, my school tries to involve me in the chain of events, PTDF kind of always sends out a warning to the schools that they should not disturb their scholars. So, like, you don't have any concern with payment of school fees, you don't have any concern with payment of your school fees. All you know is that when your stipend is ready, the PTDF pays it. And how do they pay this stipend? The stipend is paid twice a year, usually in advance. It's only paid in arrears for the first period when you come. So your first stipend is going to come in arrears by maybe like 2 months for those of us in the UK, because when you arrive, you have to like sort out your bank, setting up a bank account and all that, after which you send to PTDF, they then process it and then make a payment to you. But the payment comes in 6 months intervals, and usually before the end of December, they would have paid you your stipend for January to June. That's usually the way they do their things. And before July starts, they would have paid your stipend for July to December. All right, so that's why I tell people that PTDF is one of the best scholarships that you can apply for as a Nigerian. Now, again, I know that a lot of people have this concern about corruption in the country and all that and all that. Well, I cannot tell you that I work with PTDF and that I know all the internal workings of the organization, but at least I know that when I won the scholarship, I didn't have to lobby anybody. When my other friend that came to University of Aberdeen won it, he didn't have to lobby anybody. When my friend Josephine won it, she didn't have to lobby anybody. When Precious and Rosemary and Kenneth, all these people I'm mentioning are people I know in person. Some of them I've known since 2010. Some I've known since 2011. So it's like a very long relationship. And if they lobbied anybody at all, they will tell me that yes, we lobbied somebody. That's how close I am to many of these people I'm mentioning. And I know for certainty that they did not have to lobby, they did not have to pay, they did not have to bribe anybody. They went there and they won the scholarship on merit. And these are people from different states of the country. Some of us from, from the east of the country, from the west, from north central, from core north. In fact, one of us is from Borno State. One is from Ogun State. The other one from Kwara, Benue, Enugu, like a widespread. Again, these people I've mentioned have done their interviews in different interview locations. So it's not like a coincidence of say, okay, because they did interview in one center, that's why they won it. No. I did my interview in Ibadan, University of Ibadan. The other person did in Abuja, and those kind of things. So there is this confidence I have in PTDF that regardless, come what may, people are winning the scholarship on merit. And I also have the confidence in you that you will win the scholarship on merit. Please give me a moment. I think I perceive the smell of something that I need to fix now. All right, everything is okay. So it's not what I was thinking. Now, I have this big confidence in the PTDF that the scholarship is purely on merit. And if at all, usually, there will always be a place for say, what's it called again? They call it, there's a name, there's a language we use to describe it in Nigeria. I mean, there will always be a place for where they say, okay, this slot is for so and so person, or this number of slots is for so and so person. But always know that there will be a list of people who won this scholarship on merit, and you can be one of them. Again, remember, that the scholarship application is designed in such a way that you are competing against people from your own state. So it's going to be more competitive in some states than it is in other states. It's a national scholarship, but the competition is against your own people. That's why, for instance, in the year that I applied, I could have won that scholarship if it was like a national competition. But I had this local competition against a guy who had more awards than I had, and that's why I lost out. So know that it's against people from your state. And that's why if you are going for the scholarship, try to imagine what is the average academic performance of people from your state. If your state is one of those places where people are like performing, except having first class as if it's nothing, then you need to really sit up and tighten your seatbelt, because the competition is going to be tough. However, my trust is that you're going to put out the best application and you will win the scholarship. Now, there is something I want to highlight. So I believe you would have read this in the publication, but it's very important to get it clearly. The scholarship these days is going to have a changed format, a modified format, especially for those coming for the UK, or particularly for those coming to the UK. Now, prior to this time, those who came like in my set, we had the privilege of staying in the UK from the beginning of our program till the end of our program. But those who are coming to the UK from this year will no longer stay in the UK for the entire duration of their program. They are going to have a split program. And this is something that has been in the works for a long time. I think this is the particular reason why the announcement for this year's application was delayed until this period. Because the PTDF has been trying to finalize the construction, the building of a research institute somewhere in Kaduna State. And now that they have built that research institute to a good level, what they have decided to do is that the PTDF scholars that are coming to the UK for PhD will now run a split program where they spend some period of their days in the UK, and then the other part of it will be spent in Nigeria, in Kaduna State. Now, it's not clear at this point whether the split program is going to start from Nigeria or start from the UK, but I somehow seem to suspect that the first year of the split program is going to be in the UK, and then the people will have to return to Nigeria to complete the program. Don't quote me on this. This is just my personal intuition. This is the way I see it, because given the way that PhDs are run in the UK, in my own school, for instance, there's something they call module. So you have to do that module 1 and then do module 2. All of this you have to do within the first year of your PhD, or the first year and the beginning of your second year of the PhD. So I think these are the kind of things that will make people have to come to the UK. And again, because some of the supervisions may be coming from the UK, they may also want the student to come stay in the UK for the first period and then get their feet established in their research, like complete their literature review, get a direction on their methodology before they can go back to Nigeria to execute. Again, the implication of this is that there are only 3 schools now that you can apply for as a PhD scholar under the PTDF scholarship in the UK. I'm not talking about France now. I'm not talking about Germany. I'm not talking about Malaysia. Malaysia, Germany, France, they remain in that format where you go to the country and you start and finish within the country. But for those coming to the UK, there are only 3 schools that you can come to. One of the schools is where myself is studying. That's Robert Gordon University. It's in Scotland and is in a city called Aberdeen. We pride ourselves to be the oil and gas capital of Europe. That's what the city is nicknamed as, the oil and gas capital of Europe. But if you are coming to study oil and gas engineering in the UK, I would always encourage you to come to Aberdeen, because you are closer to the industry in Aberdeen. You are able to access the SPE events very easily because they all happen within your locality, or most of them. You are able to access events by the, what's it called again, Offshore Energies UK, which is like the trade union organization for oil and gas companies and all that. This is not me marketing my school, but if you are coming to study oil and gas engineering, just know that Aberdeen is like the Niger Delta of the UK. That's where the oil is, and that's where most of the oil companies are. Of course, there are headquarters in London, like BP and all those other people. They might have their headquarters in London, but actual operations and exploration activities are mostly controlled from the offices in Aberdeen. The second school that you can come to is University of Strathclyde. Strathclyde is also in Scotland. It's somewhere, I think, in Glasgow, about 3 hours, 30 minutes drive from Aberdeen. Then the other school you can go to is, there's a third school that you can go to. The other third school you can go to is Portsmouth. Portsmouth is in England, as football lovers would know. Now, in these schools, when you go to the application system, there are selected courses that each of the schools will offer. And you need to be guided in choosing your subject and choosing the course of the school that you are going to eventually. Although, at this point of the application, you can choose schools and eventually not even go to those schools, because your place of study will eventually depend on the school that you are able to secure admission into. However, I would suspect that because the number of schools is now limited in the UK for PhDs, you may be able to, the PTDF might be in a position to assign you to any of the schools that you have chosen in your application. I'm not sure about this, but this is just my thinking. Now, for those who want to, if this now are the implications, if it happens that the first year of your study under this split program is going to be in the UK, then it means that you will finish your studies in Nigeria. That means that by the time you are completing your studies, your visa to the UK will no longer be valid. And that has its own implications. I'm not going to go into the details of that on this live stream. Let's concentrate on the application system. So the application itself, for those who are going to Germany, France, and Malaysia, it remains the same. You are going to continue to study your program for all the days of your program in those countries. If you are coming to the UK, of course, for your master's, the entirety of the master's program is going to be in the UK, and you don't have any questions of splitting the program between here and Kaduna State. Those ones are not affected by this. Just now, it might become in the future, but at least for this year, the master's degree students coming to the UK can stay in the UK for their studies. Now, what are the requirements? I'm going to mention each of these requirements, and there is something special that I'm going to discuss. That's how I'm going to discuss in details how you can relate your course to a relevant section of the oil and gas industry. Because again, even if you studied medicine or you studied soil science or you studied sociology, whatever you studied, the oil and gas industry is really a big industry. It's more or less depends on how can you think out of the box to make your course relevant to the industry. Because in the oil and gas industry, you have people who are doing human resources, you have people who are doing logistics, you have supply chain management, you have people you have psychology, you even have sociology people working there sometimes, because you need to be able to manage community related activities in the oil and gas industry in Nigeria. It may not be too relevant in some other countries, but in Nigeria, because of the tensions between the industry and the communities, there's always going to be all these human people that manage social interactions between the companies and the citizens of the host states and all that. These are always going to be relevant professionals to have in the oil and gas industry. And because of that, all you need to do is to be able to convince the people through your essays that this course you have studied has a relevance to the oil and gas industry. Sometimes the people in the PTDF may not even be able to define the relevance of your course to the industry. And I say this because my friend, who is a medical doctor, applied for PTDF scholarship at some point, and he was shortlisted for the interview. He didn't win the scholarship eventually. I don't know what the reasons are, but he applied and he was shortlisted. He is a medical doctor. Now he's in the UK practicing as a doctor. But the time when he applied, he was looking at investigating the health implications of people who were the health implications of staying many days away from normal people, for or from the general public, for those who work offshore. If you know the industry very well, you know that people who work offshore, they go like offshore, they stay there maybe like 1 month, then they come back, they stay like 2 weeks, or depending on the company, 1 month, then they rotate back to offshore. So the guy was trying to look at, I think, the mental health implications on the people, the trying to connect medical to oil and gas workers. And because he was linking oil and gas workers from a medical perspective, that research would have, it was a great study to have. All right. And I believe that's why he was able to get shortlisted for the interview process and he went for it. But before that, people have been asking, do we need NYSC discharge certificate? Yes, you need it. If you don't have your NYSC discharge certificate, PTDF does not really consider your application. Yes, being me, I would encourage you that if you know you are already at the point of concluding your National Youth Service, that you should go ahead and apply for this scholarship. Maybe write them a letter there that says you are completing this service by the end of May, by the end of June, before the study starts, and all that and all that. They may consider it, they may not consider it, is left for them. But even if they don't consider it, you would have gained useful experience that will help you in any other scholarship application that you'll be applying for. And this experience can make the difference between who wins a scholarship and who does not win a scholarship. That's why I would encourage you to do it. But what PTDF says is you must have your national discharge, your National Youth Service discharge certificate or exemption certificate. Either of the two works, and either of the two is considered equally same. Now, the other thing that people seem to be confused about from the questions I've been getting is, are we going to pay money for our NIN verification? And the answer is yes. Yes. I know, of course, that people will tell you that if a scholarship is genuine, nobody asks you to pay any money. But this is what is happening. There is a company in Nigeria, or maybe somewhere in the world, I don't know where they are based. But what that company does is to authenticate your national identification number. So, and this is not within the control of the PTDF. But PTDF needs to be sure that you who is applying for the scholarship is a Nigerian, that you are a Nigerian. You who are applying for the scholarship you are a Nigerian when you are applying. And because they want to confirm that, that's why you go through that authentication process. Now, the authentication process is conducted by a third party. And the third party applies a charge for their service. So for the third party to now do that authentication, they are going to make you pay that fee for them to be able to authenticate you. And that's the only way you prove to PTDF that you are actually a Nigerian. The second proof of your nationality is your local government identification letter. But that is also relevant because remember, I mentioned that this competition that this scholarship is a national scholarship, but a statewide competition. So if you submit your local government identification letter, that is how PTDF can confirm that they are placing you in the right pool of competition. Because if I pick up a local government identification letter from maybe Kaduna State, for instance, and submit, what it means is PTDF is going to be placing me in the competition pool of citizens of Kaduna State. If I pick up one for, say, Akwa Ibom State, they're going to put me in the pool of people from Akwa Ibom State. So these two documents are critical, and what they help PTDF to do is to identify that identify you as a Nigerian, and then identify your state of origin. So don't play with any of them. You must upload them, and in fact, you must verify NIN, and you must upload your local government identification. In fact, the day of the interview, you must also go with a physical copy of that your local government identification letter. They are going to see it before they start conducting your interview. But before the interview anyways, when people get shortlisted, we're going to run another series on what to do exactly for the interview and how to approach the interview itself. But today, so these are the things you need to submit for your application. You need 5 O levels, and I believe anybody who went to university in Nigeria meets this criteria because that's the minimum requirement for admission into Nigerian schools. Well, some courses may not have a credit in maths, but for the sake of the PTDF application, you need a minimum of 5 credits, and that must include English language and mathematics. All right, so that's it mostly about the application. Now, the other thing is People who have second class lower can apply, but on a condition. If you have a second class lower and you are going for the master's degree, you need to have gotten a relevant work experience to that field. All right, so if you are a mechanical engineer with a second class lower, you need to have relevant work experience in mechanical engineering. So that's your work experience kind of upgrades that degree in terms of the rating system. But if you don't have a relevant work experience and you're applying for the master's degree with a 2-2, I will honestly tell you that your chances of winning the scholarship is slim, like very, very slim, except if all the people applying from your states did not have very good performance in their O level, in their university degrees, or if your WAEC is exceptionally good, because they go back all the way to your WAEC results to start judging you or grading you for the during the interview stage, or in the final selection stage. So what they do is that your WAEC has, like, there's a way they assign grades to each of the courses you did in WAEC. Like if you had A1 in one relevant course, B2 in another relevant course, there's a way they assign some points to it. And then there's a way they assign some points to a first class, a second class lower, a second class upper. All those things have their own point systems. So a second class lower can apply for the scholarship, right? But a relevant work experience is what will help that person to be very competitive in the scholarship process. Now, for those with PhD or going for PhD, if you had a second class lower in your bachelor's and then you had a very good score or a very good grade in your master's degree, then you qualify to apply for the PTDF PhD scholarship without, even if you don't have the relevant work experience. So long as you already have a very good grade in your master's degree, that kind of qualifies you. But remember, a good work experience will always be useful. Not maybe because they're going to assign, like in my time, they didn't really assign 2 points to work experience, the much I remember. They did not assign any points to work experience, the much I remember, in my own time. But if you have some relevant work experience, it helps you prepare a relevant research proposal, because it gives you kind of insight into the needs of the industry and the things that the burning issues within the industry. And then it also helps you in answering the questions that will be coming at you during the interview process. This is not to say that without work experience you cannot win the scholarship. When my friend won the scholarship in 2019, he did not have any work experience. He was all fresh from NYSC. In fact, 3 of my friends who won the scholarship just finished NYSC and won it. In my case, I had worked for maybe like for a certain period of time before I won the scholarship. But in their case, they just finished NYSC and won the scholarship. So it happens that way for people. Some would have worked, some would not have worked, but the key thing is the scholarship judgment is going to be on merit. Now, the other thing that you must pay attention to, and this is very, very important, don't play with any of the things I am saying today. They sound like common knowledge, right? But there's a reason why I'm emphasizing on them the way I am emphasizing. There is a place in the application portal that you will see them telling you that your SOP has to be a maximum of 500 words. Maximum of 500 words. What this means is that your SOP should not be 501 words. It can be 495, 490, 300. In fact, even if you write one word, that's still within the scope of, that's still within the range of the requirements. But obviously, one word cannot be counted as an SOP because it's not going to qualify to answer all the questions that your SOP is supposed to answer. But do not make the mistake of going one word or half a word higher than the maximum word count. If you do that, you disqualify yourself automatically, because some of these are going to be the things that a system will just check and then disqualify some people. So if you have an SOP that you already plan to use for a school somewhere, do not even copy that SOP directly and paste into the PTDF scholarship application, because the SOP you have for schools, the SOP you prepared for schools, will not answer the questions that PTDF wants your SOP to answer. If you're applying to my school, for instance, for admission, they are going to ask you why you are choosing the school, why you are choosing Aberdeen, all those kind of things. You have to address those points in your SOP. But sometimes you have to write about a faculty member that you know in the school, how the person's work is interesting to you, how you want to learn under this person, da 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 da. But the SOP that PTDF wants you to write, and this is now for specifically for master's degree students. We are coming to PhD and what your research proposal should look like. The SOP that PTDF wants you to write should be maximum of 500 words. For me, I would say don't go above 495. Stay in the range of 495 to 498, just in case. You understand? Just in case. Stay in the range of 495 to 498 maximum. Don't touch that 500. Leave the 500 for them, all right? Leave 500 for them. Just stay in 400 and something. And I also would advise you, don't go and write an SOP that is 100 words because it's going to make you look unserious. Write something that is of good volume, but does not break the regulation or does not break the requirement criteria for the scholarship. Don't write 100 words. Don't even write 200 words. 200 words will be too small for an SOP of the kind of scholarship that you're applying for. Given the level of competition, you want to do everything possible to ensure that you are the one winning the scholarship from your state. It's not a scholarship that is going to be awarded to 20 people per state. All right, it's competitive, and that's why you need to treat it as, in fact, just think of this as if an oil company is offering you a job and you are applying for that job in that oil company. That's the best way to think about this PTDF scholarship. And it's actually like that. I will even tell you that there is no oil company in Nigeria. There is none. I said there is none. Not NNPC, not ExxonMobil, not Chevron, not Shell. There is no oil company in Nigeria that will pay you as much money as PTDF will pay you as an entry-level professional. You can quote me anywhere, you can ask anybody. I was in the industry before I left Nigeria, so I know what I'm saying. There is no company. Seplat won't come anywhere close. Mobil won't come, because we are talking about you being paid close to 1,800 and something pounds per month as a PhD scholar if you are in the UK. That amount of money is over 3 million naira in today's exchange rates. That's per month. And this is not part of your school fees. Your school fees is paid differently. So if you add the money you are paid by from your school fees and from your stipend, if you do a per month analysis of all those things, you are taking about 5-point-something million naira from PTDF on a monthly basis, or PTDF is spending that amount on you on a monthly basis. So treat it as if ExxonMobil has called you to come and become a senior engineer in ExxonMobil. You have to take it that seriously. So don't go over the word limit. I keep emphasizing this because we all think sometimes that we are good at following instructions, but you'll be surprised and you'll be shocked. One professor in Canada, she advertised for students to come and apply for a particular scholarship under her. And after the application, she said that 50% of the applicants, and this was, I think, a PhD position, 50% of the applicants did not follow instructions. That's what disqualified them. They did not follow what? Instructions. So that's why I'm laying emphasis on this. Anything that is going to disqualify you from this scholarship, disqualify that thing from happening to your application, please. It's very, very important. Thank you, everybody, for all the likes and all the comments. I would still want to know who has joined us. We are 30 persons watching at the moment. If you have joined us just not long ago, let me know where you are joining us from in the comment section. I want to know who we are talking with today. I want to be able to say we had 2 people join us from Lagos, 3 people from Kwara State. Okay, I can see somebody joined us from Kwara State. Somebody even joined us from UK. I see somebody else from Katsina State. So you see, this is a very wide spread of people all here within this particular live stream. Now, after you've written that, there are 3 things that you must address in your SOP. 3 things. You see, PTDF is kind. They are just saying, address these 3 points for us. Any other point you are addressing is in your own pocket. But before you start going to address other points, address these 3 that they are looking for. The first point is, it says you must state how your proposed study You must state the reasons for your proposed study. Why are you intending to go for that course that you are going for? Are you going for it because it is in line with what you have studied before? Are you going for it because it is a course that is going to augment the other course you have studied before? Are you going for it because there must have to be a reason why you must study that course? There has to be a reason. Now, the second thing you must do is to discuss the relevance of what you are going to study to the oil and gas industry. In my experience, this statement to the oil and gas industry is more or less to the energy industry as a whole, because you really can't detach. It's difficult to separate the oil and gas industry and the energy industry. Energy industry includes renewable energy, fossil fuel, and all that kind of thing, management and all that, energy management and all the rest of them. So you really can't separate them. And because I know people who are studying courses that are not oil and gas engineering, people who are studying things around renewable energy and all of that. And the oil and gas industry, in fairness, is the basement for the renewable energy. No matter how anybody wants to argue about it, the oil and gas industries are mainly driving the renewable energy business, and all the regulators of oil and gas worldwide, the much I know, are also very interested in renewable energy. So this is primarily saying relevance to the oil and gas industry, but you can think in the bigger picture of relevance to the energy industry. Again, the third thing that you must also address is how does this study impact the Nigerian development, national development, Nigerian economy? How is your study going to be useful to the Nigerian economy? Because PTDF is trying to fund people to develop local capacity. So if you go there and you are making a proposal, you are submitting an SOP that is telling them how your study is going to be relevant to the world, you are really not answering their question. The question is the local impact, the local relevance of your course. Now, think of it this way. The reason for which you are planning to study that course should link up to the relevance of the course to the oil and gas industry, and that should also link up to the impact on the national development or the Nigerian economy. Don't go there and start telling them of things that have no reason, have no usefulness to the oil and gas industry in Nigeria, or have no usefulness or have no impact on the economy of Nigeria. You need to be able to highlight these three things. Now, don't go there and start telling stories of how they should pity you because your parents are struggling, because you struggled through university and all that and all that. That's not what they are looking for. What they are saying is, we want to give you this scholarship on merit, but you need to prove to us that you merit the scholarship. They are not saying come and beg us for a scholarship. They are not saying come and tell us the whole history of your life. What they are saying is answer these three questions. Why are you studying? Why are you choosing this course? And then how is this course relevant to the oil and gas industry? And what is the impact of this course you are studying on national development? Those of you who are going for PhD, bear this in mind as well. I'm going to lay more emphasis on this towards the interview stage, because even at the interview, these are critical questions that you must prepare yourself for. You must be able to defend that position. Now, somebody would say, oh, but I don't know how my course can be related to the oil and gas industry. I'm going to give you a secret code. I'm going to give you a cheat code that you use and find out. So go to this app. I believe you know it. Go to the app that is called ChatGPT. Go there. Ask ChatGPT to tell you the relevance of your course to the energy industry. Don't copy and paste. I'm saying go there. This is something you can use as a research tool. You are not going there to copy and paste from ChatGPT. You're not going there to even depend solely on ChatGPT. But if you are struggling to find how your course is relevant to the oil and gas industry or to the Nigerian economy, go to ChatGPT and ask it, I want to study this course. What is the relevance of this course to the Nigerian economy at the moment? And again, I'm also going to pass this warning at the moment. Don't use ChatGPT to write your statement of purpose. You see, the two things are sounding a bit contradictory, but let me clarify them. Don't go to ChatGPT and tell it to write a statement of purpose for you and then you copy it and paste. Because the people who are going to be assessing these things, some of the people who do interviews for PTDF are university staffs in the UK or university staff in the UK. In fact, I know a lecturer in my school that was part of the past interview. So this is how the thing happens. So you must be careful. And these people have been trained over the years to detect plagiarism. And to also in the UK here, they even know they have a way of detecting AI plagiarism. That's when you copy something from AI and paste it. But you can get ideas. You can brainstorm with the AI tool. You can ask it questions like, give me this idea, or what do you think about this? How can this be relevant to this? Ask the AI tools questions, make them think. And then when you see the responses, you build on those responses and you develop them. But don't make the mistake of copying from the AI tool to paste. The same thing goes for those who are applying for PhD. Don't use AI tool to write your research proposal. Take this from me and make it a very serious, take it very seriously with your application. So I want to plead with those who are dropping questions in the comment section for now. I'm going to come to question and answer. Remember, today is for you. I had to shut down all the other things I'm doing to be able to do this. So we are going to discuss your questions and your answers, and I'm going to answer them. I just want to highlight these general areas, then we can go to specific questions of individual, because sometimes there are things I forget to say that those questions will draw my attention to. All right, so these are the things you must do for master's degree people. 500 words, not more than 500 words, number one. Why are you picking that study? What's the relevance of the study to the industry, and what is the relevance of the study to the Nigerian economy? Don't go and tell PTDF about the relevance of your study to health, to what is it called now? Which other sectors do we have in Nigeria? Don't go and tell them the relevance of your course to what is it? Okay, sorry, somebody just sent me a message now and I was trying to read through that. Don't go and tell them about the relevance of your course to the Ministry of Water Board. PTDF is not there to fund Water Board or to tell them the relevance of your study to what now? To farming maize. That's not what they are there for. They are primarily, of course, there's a link between energy and agriculture, right? Which is something you can establish as well. But I'm just saying, for instance, your relevance of the relevance of your course must be linked to the energy industry. If it is something in agriculture, you must link that your agriculture to the energy industry. How does that integrate? How do they integrate? For instance, somebody can decide to study something about the impact of oil pollution on agriculture in Nigeria. So what you are trying to map there is how to improve oil and gas practices, first from the angle of controlling spillages, or from the angle of cleaning up spillages, and then the quantifiable impact of that on the Nigerian agricultural sector. Of course, the agricultural sector has a major impact on the Nigerian economy. It has a major impact on how much food we import, how much food we export, or how much food we import and how much we export. So these are the things that you can begin to link. And that's why I said, if you are confused at any point, you can ask ChatGPT. I can tell you, because I've been in the industry, I can almost link any course for you to the oil and gas industry. But because I can't attend to every one of you individually, I would recommend that at least as a baseline, ask ChatGPT to tell you. Ask it questions about that course and you see how the course is linked to the industry. Now, when you start writing these SOPs, it will always be good as much as possible. Try to quantify the things that you are saying. All right. What do I mean by this? So if somebody is saying that my proposed study, the relevance of my proposed study to the oil and gas industry is that it's going to clean up the oil spillages in the Niger Delta or in Ogoniland. Somebody else goes on to say that my course is going to clean up Ogoniland, which has this amount of square meters. Right? Say Ogoniland is maybe 200 square meters. I don't know the exact size of Ogoni, but say 200 square meters. The other person says, I'll clean up Ogoniland. The other person says, I'll clean up Ogoniland, which has 200 square meters of farmland. And then you can now say that these 200 square meters of farmland can produce maybe 20 tons or 200 tons of cassava in a year. Then, of course, if you have an average price for cassava, you can say that 20 tons of cassava will add maybe $200 to the Nigerian economy or something like that. If you are taking up any other oil and gas related problem, try to see how much money is this going to save, how is this going to improve health and safety, how is this going to improve the lives of the people living around that community and then the country as a whole. Impact on the economy can be local impact, but as much as possible, try to scale it up. Again, this is also me trying to tell you that there is a way you think about figures when you are writing. If you are writing something and the figures are low, like let's say you taught people maths and maybe in the previous years 50% of the people used to fail, and then you started teaching them and now all of them are passing. So you are saying that there's been a 50% improvement on the failure rate of the people, of the students. But the student number could be 2. So if you are saying that you taught 2 students and one of the students who used to fail started passing, is a different report it has a different impact from somebody saying that 50% of the class has been improved. You saying 50% of the class is not a lie. The other person saying one person in the class has not also told a lie, but the 50% draws the attention of the reader first over one as a number. So you need to learn how to quantify the numbers that are going to be reporting and all that kind of thing. Be careful about the way you write. Don't go and tell lies, but try to be careful about the way you are writing your numbers and the way you are writing your reports. All right. The stipend that will be paid for those studying in the UK, will it be the same with those in Kaduna? Well, I don't know about that, but like I said, let's leave the questions. I'll come to the question and answer time. I will announce it. For now, pay attention to these things that I'm saying. They're going to be really very, very helpful. All right. So the quantification of your things is really, really very important. Try as much as possible. If you are talking about maybe the implications of your course, for the impact of your course on the Nigerian economy, and maybe you want to use human capital development, for instance, how many people, for instance, can you train? Or how many people, for instance, can your course improve their knowledge, their skill set, and all of that? That's what you need to really highlight on these SOPs. I'm taking time to discuss these things, and you must also pay good attention to everything that I have said today. Now, let's look at the PhD people. PhD, let's gather here because you guys are the big ogas in the room. Now, you're going to write a research proposal as a PhD student, but your research proposal has to be within 5 pages. Your research proposal should not be more than 5 pages. And this is very interesting because very often if you write a research proposal, your research proposal has a component that is called literature review, generally speaking. But if you write a standard literature review, that literature review alone will even be more than the 5 pages that PTDF is asking you to write. But it says that you must not go beyond 5 pages. Please don't go above these 5 pages. Don't go above 5 pages in your report, in your proposal, because if you do, you just disqualify yourself. I keep saying this. Now, what does your research proposal include? In the case of PTDF, you must have a topic. Of course, this topic is your proposed topic. Then you must have an introduction. You must have objective. You must have methodology, and you must have mode of data collection. That is, the mode of data collection may not be compulsory for everybody. If you are going to do simulation, you are not really, in this case, you are not going to be writing a very big, developed, expanded mode of data collection, because all your collection of data is going to be from your computer. If you are going to do something in programming, most of the data you might have to source some data from outside and all of that. But even those who are doing simulation, depending on the nature of the simulation, you may have to find some information outside that will feed into your model and all of that kind of thing. But what I'm trying to say is, you see, they have not stated literature review as a separate entity here. But your introduction should also touch on your literature review. Why is that the case? The reason that is the case is because a literature review is what helps you establish that a study is still relevant in today's world. If you don't do a literature review, you can't even guarantee that the topic you are proposing is something that has not been studied before. And a PhD, you have to, at the level of a PhD, you have to come up with an idea that is novel. Novel in the sense that it's solving a problem that has not been solved before. It's fixing a situation that has not been fixed before, or is exploring an area that has not been explored before. It's not necessarily a problem all the time. It could just be that this area of knowledge has not been explored and you are taking the responsibility of exploring it. But every research proposal and every research topic should be born through a comprehensive literature review. So your introduction should be kind of, you should write your introduction as a summarized literature review. Again, for you that is going into the for the PhD, this literature, this your introduction is the place where you also establish those three things that the master's degree people were establishing. All right. So this is also where you have to emphasize or you highlight how this course, why you are studying this course, how this course is relevant to the industry, and what will be the impact of the course on the national economy. Do all of those in this your introduction, maybe as the closing paragraph or something. But let your introduction capture a review of literature that highlights the fact that what you are going to study is still a relevant study today. It has not been solved before. It has not been studied by someone else. And then that this course or this research you are going to conduct rather has some relevance to the oil industry, has some relevance to the Nigerian economy or positive impact on the Nigerian economy. Do these things in your introduction. You remember I said people should bring pen and paper. If you did not bring a pen and paper, then you have to rewatch this video at the end of the thing. That's if you don't implement everything today. So guys, thank you so much for joining and for staying along till this time. We're going to complete soon and then we'll take questions and answer. But before that, if you have not told us where you joined from, somebody joined from Plateau State, somebody else joined from where? Who else joined from where? Different places I can see in the comment section. If you have not told us where you joined from, please tell us where you joined from in the comment section. And that red heart thing that I told us in the beginning, please let's continue to do it. Continue to tap on that red heart. I can't see it coming through my screen anymore because when somebody taps on that red heart, I see it here on my own screen. So please guys, let's try to do that and let's try to stay together. Somebody joined us all the way from Borno State. Good enough. I have a friend from Borno State that studied under this PTDF scholarship in France. The guy finished his study in France. Now he's moved to he got married and he's moved to the UK with the wife. And good enough, the wife self is also a PTDF scholar, by the way. So let's continue. Now, for the PhD scholars, you must do that in your introduction, and your objective has to also be clearly stated. Your methodology has to be defined. Remember that at this point, these are all proposals. It's not cast in stone. It's not like PTDF is not going to say that what you wrote now must be the thing you will do. Like you must do it without any changes. You have that room to make some modifications. And then, of course, try the best you can to avoid grammatical errors in your writing. When you are done with all this writing, try to check through again. If you have a good friend, try to pass it by your friend. Let your friend go through it on your behalf. Let your friend see it. Let your friend check. Check for grammatical errors. Check those of your friends also. However, be careful. Don't give your work to a friend who is going to steal the idea and then go and write it. And then when you submit, it becomes as if you plagiarized his own or he plagiarized your own. Don't go into any form of plagiarism in this scholarship application. Remember that PTDF is a Nigerian organization, but they have a lot of money and they can invest heavily in things that will catch up with those who are doing plagiarism. That's just what you need to know. Now, what else do we need to mention in the application process? So people ask sometimes of templates, and the reason I don't generally like to give out templates is because one is my story is different from your story. Two is the PTDF template for research proposal and for statement of purpose is completely different from the standard template that your influencer friend might give you. So your friend may give you a research proposal template that says, do this or write this or write this, tell us how this one happened. That does not have any way in any place address the question of Nigeria. Your friend might give you a template that addresses the problem of the UK because that research proposal was written for a project that is sponsored by an organization in the UK or in France. But what you need to do is follow these instructions. If you miss out on anything, come back to this video and see, listen to that segment again and see. Your research proposal should be developed by you following these subheadings that PTDF has highlighted. Your introduction, you can do maybe introduction as a section 1. You can have segment 1.1, 1.2, those kind of things. But this is the templates that they have. And so don't go about taking any random template to do your application or to write up your application. You might be kicking yourself on the foot. If you go and take a standard SOP template from somebody and the person is writing and telling you why he's choosing a school, PTDF is not interested in why you are choosing a school in your SOP. They are interested in why you are choosing the course. And they are interested in how the course is relevant to the oil and gas industry or the energy industry, as I said earlier. They are interested in how that course is going to have an impact, the impact of that your course on Nigeria's economy, on national development. So when they say national development, you can look at it from the angle of Nigerian economy or from development in terms of maybe human capital development or any other thing, infrastructural development and all that kind of thing. So these are the things that you must do. These are the things that you must pay attention to. All right. So I don't know if I've missed out any other thing, but while we are here, let's take some questions from everybody who is applying. If you have any questions now, this is the opportunity to drop that question in the comment section, and then we can go through the questions and discuss their answers. So this is your time to look through the questions. If this has been useful to you, if this session has been useful, please let me know in the comment section that this was useful. If it was not useful, then maybe we shouldn't do it again. But I think it was useful anyways. Was it? Let me know in the comment section. What do you think? All right. I think at this point, I will try to go live on Facebook simultaneously with this YouTube because it looks like some people did not make it to the YouTube question and answer on PTDF scholarship application. All right, so was it useful? Did anybody find it very valuable? Let me see in the comment section what the people are saying. Somebody is saying for PhD, do we need to have an admission letter before applying? Okay, this is a general question. It's not just for PhD. You don't need admission letter to apply for PTDF scholarship. In fact, if you have admission letter, fine and good, but you don't need it to apply. It's even easier for you to get admission after. It's a lot easier for you to gain admission after you have won the scholarship than it is to gain an admission before you win the scholarship. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. So that's the way it works. Any other question? Let me see. The reason this session was indeed useful. Thank you so much, sir. On the average, how many MSc or MSc scholars are selected per state? That's from Wisdom. Okay, thank you, Wisdom, for that positive feedback there. On the average, the number of scholars selected per state is dependent on just a moment. Oh, okay. So the number of scholars selected per state is dependent on the state as well. So if you come from a state that is oil and gas producing, the oil and gas producing states have more people. The oil and gas producing states have more slots given to them than the states that are not producing oil. But generally, they used to do, I think they used to do 2 students per state for masters to the country, to a country, and then I think 3 PhD students, if I'm not mistaken, per state. I'm not sure exactly how many the number is for PhD now, but what will give you an idea is go to PTDF, type or go to Google, search for list of PTDF scholarship awardees in 2024. That will give you a perfect idea of the number of people that are awarded the scholarship. So if you have that number, you will see, you can check your own states, the same numbers. I think last year the number dropped a bit. I don't know how many they are going to do this year, but I think last year the number dropped by 1 per state. But the people who come from the oil and gas producing states will always have 1 person in each of the categories more than the other states. Okay, so I think the Facebook thing is not working. Okay. All right, so it's coming up now. So the PTDF thing is going to always be 1 person more than the 1 person more in the oil and gas producing states than you have in the other states. That's the way the numbers work. I hope that answers your question. But to be more specific, you can go check up the number that was awarded in your state last year, and that should be very helpful. All right. So who else? What else do we? Any other question in the comment section coming through just now? Let me see. Let me see. So somebody is saying, do you know if someone in the UK can apply? Absolutely. So I believe this person who is asking this question maybe knows somebody who lives in the UK and then is trying to find out if you can apply from the UK. Yes, you can apply for PTDF scholarship from abroad. That's the truth. The only thing is, these days they require you to come back to Nigeria for interview. It was better during COVID when you could do your interview virtually. These days they require you to come back for interview. However, I must also say that last year they made provisions. I think they made late provisions for those who were intending to be interviewed from abroad. I know somebody who interviewed from abroad last year. I think about 3 people who interviewed from abroad last year. So it might change. They might say you must come back. They might say you can stay abroad and do your interview and all that. But yes, you can apply from the UK. I know people who have done it. I know people who have applied from France. In fact, one of my PhD colleagues applied from the UK in our time, and she is today enjoying the benefits of the scholarship. Which other question? Any other question coming through? Let's see. Okay, can you kindly give more information about applying to get scholarship, especially to schools in Germany? Okay, so the schools in Germany the German package is slightly different from the UK package, because what happens with PTDF in Germany is that they work in partnership with DAD. You know that organization that is called DAD. So PTDF works in partnership with them. But the process of getting admission remains the process of getting admission. So you just reach out, you look at the partner universities. Remember that your scholarship is only useful if you're applying for a partner school of the PTDF and choosing a course that the PTDF is willing to sponsor. The list you will find in the application portal and all that place. So you reach out to that school. Some schools will tell you that you need to, especially at the level of PhD, that you need the consent of a supervisor. You need the consent of somebody who is willing to supervise you before you can apply, or before they can admit you. And these are things that you can do. So you go to the website of the school, look for your course, look for the faculty members within that course, and then reach out to the person you feel good enough with. I would always advise that if you're going for a PhD, you don't just sheepishly go and choose a professor, like blindly choose a professor. Try to look up students who have been supervised by that person, maybe on LinkedIn or other students in the school of the person, and then try to ask questions like, who is this, what's this person's behavior like, what's this person's relationship to students like. Try to find out some of those things, because at the level of a PhD, if you have a bad supervisor, my brother, my sister, it can be very tough for a PhD student if your supervisor is not cooperating. So that's the way you go about the application basically. And for the scholarship, the way you apply to win, if you follow everything I've discussed today, if you focus and pay attention to all these things I've discussed today, and I implement them, especially on the quality, getting your professional memberships, and for PhD people, getting a journal paper publication, that's also very critical. And you can do it even between now and when the interview comes. You need to try to do at least one paper if you're a PhD student. Follow all these things that we've discussed today, and you'll come back here to tell me that you won the scholarship. It's as simple as that. All right, so do we have any other questions? Let me go back up in the comments and see if there were questions that I missed. Okay, these are people telling me where they joined from, Would there be a question and answer time? Of course. So Fatima, if you are still here, this is the question and answer time. You can drop your questions here and let me answer them. Ismail from Castina, how does one publish? Okay, so this is a very important question, and it's more relevant to those of you who are going for PhD. You need a publication. In addition to your professional body memberships, your publication is another group of work that is going to carry some mark in the PTDF scholarship application process. And how do you publish? The way you publish is to write something that is, moment. So the way you publish is to write an academic piece of work, and then you go ahead and send it to a publishing house, who would then go ahead and publish it. But the process of writing the work can be challenging to many people. And that's why last year I took out time. In fact, I spent money on that. For those of you who are seeing me the first time, we've not done any major paid events this year. But last year, I took out some time. I took out some money actually from my own pocket, and I paid some resource persons to come and teach how to write journal papers on this platform. So if you go back to my videos, it was like a series of four live events also from 4 different people. And if you go through those video series, there's nothing that will stop you from doing a very good publication. I don't know if I should send that in the comment section here, but I believe all of us can find it. If you just go to this particular page at the end of this live stream, you click on the page, you will click on lives, you will see a list of those publication series. You go through any of the videos, they will guide you a lot. They will provide sufficient guidance for anybody who is interested in publishing a journal paper. They will help you. They will help you a whole lot. And those were from experts. And one of the reasons why I had to invite people to do it was because I wanted to have a broad scope of experience, like people from different fields and different faculties coming together to teach, so that I don't go there and talk about everything about engineering. We had somebody even from pharmacy, from physical sciences, from education, from the life sciences, all of that. So you can find that you will find it very useful, and it will help you a lot. There are journals that will take months to publish. There are some that will be faster. I would consider that at this point you go for a journal that has like a relatively short period of publication. That will be helpful to you. But as a PhD applicant, please get yourself a publication, whether you are the first author or you are the second author. Preferably be the first author, but if you can't get the first authorship, please go for even a second authorship. But get yourself some publication, it will help you. All right, so somebody is saying for those who will apply to for the split program in the UK, do we need to apply for the admission at the institution? And if we need to apply, will the PTDF give us the time frame to secure admission? You will have time to secure your admission, but I would advise you to start applying for admission at the moment. This is because the way the announcement of the scholarship came very late this year. I don't know how fast PTDF will be on this, but usually, like last year, around this time, interviews, the PTDF was already organizing interviews by April, around this time last year. So if you have the documents you need for your application now, please go ahead and apply for admission. In your admission application, make it obvious that you are also applying for the PTDF scholarship. Now, there is a benefit to it. If you are doing a PhD and you apply for admission ahead of the time for your PTDF interview, that's in the scenario that you are selected and you are shortlisted for the interview, the PhD applications in the UK will always pass you through an interview process. So if you have gone through that interview process at the hands of academics in the UK, you would have seen the possible questions that will come based on your research proposal, and then you can prepare ahead of time going forward into the PTDF scholarship. This is not to into the PTDF interview. This is not to say that you must have gotten your admission before the interview. It's not a requirement. It has never been a requirement with PTDF since I knew about PTDF scholarship. But there is an advantage to early application. The other thing is, if you now apply and you have your admission already with you, it's going to come as conditional offer because there is usually a deposit that you have to pay to the UK. But because you're applying for PTDF, you're not going to pay that deposit. So your admission will be conditional offer. But the moment you win the scholarship, you are just going to submit your award letter, and then they remove that condition on your admission, and then you can start processing your travel documents for those that will be traveling immediately. So you are not going to be stuck in the situation of trying to get admission first and all that. It helps you to meet up, to beat the time towards the resumption time. Resumption is usually in September, and this is April. So you are counting on about 5 months from now or 4 months from now to have all these things sorted. The earlier you start the application, the better. But the much I know, PTDF is not going to use your application, your admission letter to judge you. All right. Let's see. What of someone in the social sciences? So, like I mentioned, social sciences, you can be looking at, I think one of the schools in the UK, I saw that the list of courses has a place for something social. I think Strathclyde, University of Strathclyde, look at it again. Look at the PhD options that are stated there. Go through it, and you may also find, again, at the level of PhD abroad, PhDs are interdisciplinary studies. It's not like you did mechanical engineering and then your PhD must be titled mechanical engineering. PhD is research, is what is the value of the research you are doing. It's not what is the value of the course you are studying. If you paid attention to me when I was discussing these things, the PhD is the value of your research. Is at the level of a master's that you can say the value of your course, because you are doing mechanical, you are doing petroleum, you are doing this or you are doing that. But try to see the relevance of that your course. How is that your course? Does that your course that you want to study answer those 3 questions? Is the course you are going to study related to the course you have studied before? If it is not related, how do you prove to PTDF that if you are given admission and the scholarship to study this new course, that you will be able to study it successfully without running into problems? That's what you need to be able to prove to the people. So any other questions? Let me see. Do you know if one, yes, I've answered that one. For PhD applicants, can one travel with his or her family? Yes, absolutely. So Fatima, if you're coming to the UK as a scholar, you can bring your dependents, you can bring your wife, you can bring your husband, you can bring everybody that is either your wife, your child, your children, as many children as you have, you can bring them to the UK. lawfully married wife and lawfully married husband, you can bring them with your children at PhD. Again, this is also an advice for those of you who might have to apply. For anybody you know that is considering to come to the UK as a self-funded person, there's a video I did, it's somewhere on this page and also on my Facebook and my TikTok pages. You will see me discussing the benefits of what is called master's degree by research in the UK. With a master's degree by research, you can also bring your dependents. It's going to be like a 2 years program. The visa is somewhere around up to 3 years, depending, and you can bring your dependents on that master's. But you cannot bring your dependents if you're coming for a course-based master's. Unfortunately, the only master's degree that PTDF sponsors is the thought-based master's degree programs. That's the much I know about the scholarship. All right, so what is the time frame that will be given to those who want the scholarship to submit their admission? Well, I don't know what they're going to do this year, but in the past, if you win the PTDF scholarship, it's valid for 1 year. So you can take up the scholarship anytime within a 1 year period. For instance, if you win the scholarship for September this year, you can stay back in Nigeria, defer your scholarship to September of next year. I don't know if that will change this year, but that's usually the case. However, what you need to do is, what they are interested in is for you to provide an admission letter within the time frame of your resumption. So if you want to resume in September, then somewhere around August, you must have provided your admission letter, because your visa application takes about 3 weeks to process. Student visa to the UK takes about 3 weeks. For Germany, it might be a bit longer, a bit shorter, but you must provide an admission letter within the resumption time frame for the course that you have chosen to study. I hope that makes sense. The 5-page proposal required for PhD, does it include references? Usually references are not counted as part of the body of any work. References are not counted as part of the body of any work. But I think in 5 pages you should be able to write a great proposal. And because of the structure, it's not as if you're going to do your literature review. In this case, is going to be a very summarized literature review, like condensed, straight to the point literature review. So because of that, you might be able to finish up the things you want to do in that 5 pages. But generally, references are not counted as when traditionally in the academia, when they say write 5 pages, your references are not counted, your title page is also not counted, to the best of my knowledge. Can an HND graduate with 4 years experience in the oil and gas industry apply? This question is one question that I don't like to answer. And the reason I don't like to answer it is because I don't like the fact that in Nigeria today, there is an outright discrimination against HND, or an outright discrimination between HND and BSc, or bachelor's degree and HND. PTDF seems to stay more with bachelor's degrees than HND. But if you have a HND and you have up to 4 years of experience in the industry, please, by all means, apply for the scholarship. I am not in the position to say that they are going to consider it or not, but this is why I'm saying you should apply. I know that in some schools in the UK, if you have HND with relevant work experience, they can admit you directly into a master's degree program. The reason why PTDF also kind of stays within the bachelor scope is because if you are awarded the scholarship, they need to be sure that you can gain admission, a direct master's degree admission abroad. But for somebody in your case who can gain admission abroad, I think what you can do is apply, and then also apply for admission in schools that are abroad, in those partner universities. If you can secure admission with any of them before the interview, that's going to possibly boost your chances of winning the scholarship. Please don't give up on it. Try the much you can to follow what I just said now. Try to secure an admission and then apply. But what the standard practice is that you must have a bachelor's. In the case where you are not following the standard practice, then you have to do unconventional things like think out of the box. How do I say? The reason why they are doing this is because they are concerned about me securing admission. So let me go out of the box and secure an admission, show them that I have admission in one of their partner universities, and see if that can convince them. That is usually the way I like to approach things. I have a lot of publications. Can I upload all of them? Ismail. Well, it would. I think usually PTDF will give you a limit on the maximum size of the document you can upload. All right, but I think for a PhD, if you have anywhere from 3 publications, that should be good enough. But again, there's another way you can do it. So if the application portal does not let you upload all the documents you have, then you can try to merge them. Download them in PDF format, merge the PDF format, merge the PDFs into one document, and then maybe try to compress it to reduce the size to what fits into the application portal. If this does not work perfectly for you to capture all your publications, then you can have a segment in your research proposal that says publications, and then you list the DIO. Is it DOI or DIO? What was it again? That thing used to confuse me all the time. The DOI or DIO of the publications that you have, list them there, so that those who are going through your application can hyperlink, can hyperclick on that and then see that list of publications that you already have, so that you have all the things you have pushed out to them. But the ones you are going to attach, please let them be the most relevant to the course that you are proposing to study. Then the stipend that will be paid to those under split side program, will it be same with those in the UK? I really don't know. The reason I don't know is because this is the first time they are trying this split program, so nobody really has a full understanding from the outside of what is going to happen. I've heard people say, or I've heard someone say, that the split means you come to the UK for your first year and come back to Nigeria, but I don't know. I think that might be the case because of the nature of the way PhDs are run in the UK. But PTDF might decide to say that the first year is in Nigeria, the other years are going to be in the UK. Nobody really has all the details of the split program. It's just unfolding in real time. We don't seem to know everything about it. There's another question here, but let me turn off something and then come back to it. Don't go away. Or maybe let me just read it. I could be answering the question in real time because my mic helps me do that. If you get a scholarship this year, can you use it against admission next year? Yeah, so if you get the scholarship this year, in the time of in my own time when I came, the scholarship was valid for up to 1 year, validity. So you have the scholarship and you win it this year, for instance, you can hold on to the scholarship for 1 full year. So you can take out the scholarship like in September of next year if you have it this year. But if you win the scholarship and you need to defer, then you need to make it known to PTDF that you are deferring for so and so reason. In fact, sometimes you don't even need to defer. Like, you don't need to write an official statement that you are deferring, but they are going to give all the details of how to defer, what to do and what not to do when they do an induction, because all the people who win the scholarship will go through an induction process in the hands of PTDF, and then they will answer those questions that more specifically than what we can answer now. What I can just tell you is that the scholarship, in my experience in history, is usually valid for 1 year, and you can take it up within that 1 year period. What's the duration of PhD? The duration of a PhD can differ. So let me see. It's like I've not even been seeing some of the questions you guys have been asking. So the guys on Facebook, I'm going to come back to you, but we are answering the questions from YouTube at the moment. I'm just going to come back to you guys on Facebook shortly. So the question is, the duration of PhD. So the duration of a PhD, I'll tell you something. PhD has, it's said that PhDs are going to last for 3 years to 4 years. But I've seen people who finished their PhD in less than 3 years. I've seen people who finished in 3 years, or I know that some people finish in less than 3 years, some finish in 3 years, some finish in 4 years. But if you are coming to the UK as a PTDF scholar, more recently they seem to offer 4 years period for your PhD. And that's because that's just the more realistic thing. So they give you stipend for your award letter covers 4 years in most of the cases. If it does not cover 4 years, there's always room for you to request for an extension if the PhD is delaying you somewhere along the line. But if you're coming for a PhD in the UK, please plan for 4 years. That's the more realistic thing to do. You can finish earlier, you can finish longer, but 4 years should be good enough. So somebody is saying, for how long shall we wait to be shortlisted? It depends. I think they are going to do it faster this year because they are working against time already. So if the admission, if the application closes by the end of May, I would expect that by the end of June or by mid-June, they should have done the shortlisting because time is already against the organization this period. But there is no standard time for waiting. For PhD, what do you do if you don't get same course as what you did in your MSc? Do you go for the most related? Yeah, so PhD must not be based on your course. Let me emphasize on this. It's only in Nigeria that they tell you that PhD, maybe only in Nigeria and some countries of Africa, PhD must not be in your course. I know somebody, a colleague, who studied something around agric and bioresources engineering in Nigeria. Her PhD now that she's doing in the UK is in the field of electronics. Myself, I did well. In my case, I'm still relatively within oil and gas engineering, but I'm not doing well engineering as a PhD scholar. I am doing something in well abandonment, if you're in oil and gas and you know what I mean. So if you have studied something, because research is interdisciplinary. In my school, at the level of a PhD, they don't even have departments. What they have is school. So in the university, they have like School of Engineering. Now they have even merged it with School of Computing and all that. So if you are getting a PhD, my first admission was offered as PhD in mechanical engineering because it's dealing with something that has to do with materials and then all that kind of stuff. But I had to, on my own request, that I wanted my PhD to be written or structured this way, and then they made those changes based on my request. But the point is, PhD is an interdisciplinary study. It can be your course, it can be something that is related to your course, it can be an area that your course has application in. So somebody can come from physics and get a PhD in engineering. I have a friend, a colleague now, a PhD scholar under PTDF as well. His background is in fire safety. He used to work with the Federal Fire Service in Nigeria, but his PhD now is in an aspect of engineering that deals with acoustic emission and pipeline inspections and all that kind of thing. So PhD is about application of knowledge, interdisciplinary studies. It must not bear the name that your master's degree is bearing. That's just the way it is all over here in this part of the world. So somebody else is saying, for PhD, do you get some? Okay, no. The next question is, when you say PTDF only sponsor MSc thoughts for those coming to the UK, what about other countries such as Malaysia, Germany, and France? So in the other countries, for instance, when you go to Germany, master's degree there is 2 years standard. You might get some schools here and there that will do 1 year, but in many of the schools you get 2 years. So it doesn't really make much of a difference for PTDF. Right, but the thing is, if PTDF offers you a master's, a research-based master's in the UK, then PTDF will be making a commitment to paying your stipend for the 2 academic sessions. All right. But what they seem to do is to pay your stipend as a master's degree student for one academic session. There are some intricacies, like some details there that you might want to be aware of. If you come to the UK for your master's and you resume in January, right? You have a long, you spend like about 16 months on that master's degree. If you resume in September, you will spend about 12 months on the master's degree. So for those who come, PTDF is going to cover your course regardless, whether it is the 16 months one or the 12 months one. But if you come in January, this is not me trying to advise you on when to come and when not to come. But if those who come in January, like my friend who did her own in January, she had the advantage of having the summer, that long vacation holiday that people used to have in the UK. And within that long vacation holiday, you can actually work full time as a student. Otherwise, during your term time, you'll be working a maximum of 20 hours per week, if at all you have to work. PTDF kind of, so the advice is you must focus on your studies, finish up your studies, do your studies very well, concentrate, don't let work disturb you from your studies. But if you are doing the one that has a free period of like 2-3 months, you can use the 2-3 months to work, to do an internship somewhere and all that kind of thing, gain some work experience and all that. This is not me saying that you should delay your coming to January. And just trying to make it known to us that these are all the options that are there. Facebook people, do we have anybody that's watching us here with a question? Let me see your questions in the comments section. YouTube, this has been your moment, and I want to say that I wish everybody well who is applying for the scholarship. I can't seem to see any additional questions, but if you have any question coming through, please drop them in this comment section. I may not have all the time to come back to answer individual questions, and I may not even have all the time to come back and edit this SOP, edit the other SOP. I may not. But I believe that if you follow everything I said today, these things there are little details here and there, but these are the things that will help you stand out in your application. Can you advise on an accountant with MSc and BSc? Is the same field applying for people? There is oil and gas accounting now, or energy accounting. I think when I was going through the list of courses in the schools, you will find it. Check Robert Gordon University. You will find something about oil and gas there, accounting and energy. In fact, there is something called techno-economic analysis. I believe you'll be familiar with it. If you're not familiar with the techno part, there is something called economic analysis, especially of oil and gas projects where you do all these capex, opex, abex, all those xxx, whatever it is. I'm glad I'm talking to an accountant, so I believe you understand what I'm saying. Now, if you, in the renewable energy space, for instance, I know a colleague who is doing a PhD in techno-economic analysis of green hydrogen. Using wind energy to generate green hydrogen and all that. So these are all areas. It's just like, think outside of that box. Think of it like, how do I apply this course, or what area of this energy industry actually needs the knowledge of my course? If you can't find it or figure it out by yourself, open ChatGPT and ask it. Say, ChatGPT, I'm an accountant. I have interest in this and this and this. This is what my experience is. What areas of research can I take that will be relevant, that will have relevance to the oil and gas industry in Nigeria and to the Nigerian economy? Something like that, and it will search through and give you some. Like I said, don't copy from ChatGPT, but it can give you ideas. Yeah, so it must not be named accounting. It can be energy accounting. It can be economic analysis of energy projects. It can be techno-economic analysis. And don't be afraid. Everybody who starts, even if you start a PhD in, if your background is mechanical engineering, and you start a PhD in mechanical engineering, you are still going to study a lot A PhD will make you study and study and study. I'm a well engineer, for instance. PhD, if I choose to even do PhD in drilling, which is my core course, my foundation, I did drill, I specialized in drilling from my bachelor's, from towards the end of my bachelor's. But if I take a PhD in drilling today, I'm going to still study a lot, because PhD is you trying to solve a problem that has never been solved, explore an area of knowledge that has not been explored before. That's the reason why it has to be like a lot of studies and studies and studies and studies. So it's always going to be fine if you take it and you win the scholarship. Can you add? Okay, someone else is saying that's Chimobi. I am a civil engineering graduate, would be going for NYSC this year. Was your advice for me startup preparations? Well, if you are still planning to go for NYSC, PTDF will not consider you for the award. That's the truth. It's not going to consider you for the award. But if you do apply, it's just going to be you gaining experience and knowing what the application system looks like, so that next year you can then prepare a more perfect application and submit. Or also remember that there are many other scholarships that are not controlled from Nigeria. And those scholarships that are not controlled from Nigeria, you can actually apply for them without NYSC. Hear me right too. I'm not saying you shouldn't do NYSC or serve the country. I did NYSC too. But what I'm trying to say is that opportunities can come knocking before your NYSC. And I know people who have not done NYSC and they are doing PhD here in the UK. In fact, one of them, I think he plans to come and do NYSC after his PhD, because opportunities come to people at different times. And if you follow this page, you will see other scholarships that we talk about sometimes, especially the graduate assistantship options. They don't need your NYSC certificate. You can take it and win it and go and start your further studies. And jackpot, if that becomes the case. So somebody is saying, do you think the UK is more competitive compared to other countries? Yes, it used to be. For a number of reasons. One is obviously is English. Everybody speaks English and it's easier to adapt and integrate into the society. Even though in Malaysia, in Germany, and in France, a lot of people speak English too, so you can also integrate there. But the UK is an English-speaking country. That's one. The reason number two is, I think historically, people who live in the UK or who take the studies in the UK seem to get a slightly higher stipend than those who go to France and who go to Germany. I don't know what the exact pay is for people in Germany as at today, but historically, I think that was the case. And then the flair of I want to live in the UK, Great Britain. You know what? There's a reason why the name is great, even though it's not. I don't think the UK is more developed infrastructure wise than Germany. But in fact, I would say that Germany is more developed in infrastructure than the UK. But it used to be more competitive. However, I would think that that might change this year because of the split program that has been introduced. Again, nobody really knows. I don't really know. Let me not say nobody knows. I don't really know how the split program is going to impact things and how it's going to work. But I think that because the people who go to France and Germany and Malaysia will have the option to stay in those countries for the whole duration of their PhD, more people will likely focus on going towards those places than coming to the UK and splitting between Nigeria. This my thinking, except if the stipend remains the same for the period when the person is in Nigeria and when the person is in the UK, then the person can now start weighing the economic benefit of splitting the program. But otherwise, UK used to be more competitive than the other places. And again, the UK is functioning as a block. Then the other three countries are considered another block. So PTDF looks at the international scholarship, there are two blocks. One is UK, the other one is the other three countries. That's why in the past you can switch. If for instance if you win a scholarship to Germany, but you don't get admission into a German school, and you're able to secure admission into a school in Malaysia or in France, you can switch the countries and go to one of those places. one of, I don't know if he's on this call. I don't think he will be here, but he sent me a message on WhatsApp while we were on this call. He initially was supposed to go to France, I think. He won the scholarship, but eventually went to, sorry, he was supposed to go to Germany, but at the moment he's in France. So those kind of things. But you can't switch from the UK to France. You can't switch from France or Germany or Malaysia to the UK. They are two different blocks. That's why the UK used to be more competitive. Please, for data science, which country do you think is the best shot for me? Data science has a market everywhere. It has a market in the UK, in the US, in every place. But I can say that I don't know if I can advise based on my friend's experience, because my colleague, my former colleague, where we used to work in Lagos, we came together to the UK. She finished her data science in my school, and she got a job before she finished that data science. I don't know if that is the case in other countries, but that was the case for her. I think Germany also has good job potentials, and the UK has this good job potential if you are coming as, but if you have a family, obviously on this scholarship you can bring your family members, which is the other thing. So I will advise us on something. If you are choosing any country, think about these things. Number one is the amount of money you'll be paid by PTDF is fixed. So think about the cost of living in that particular environment where you're going to. Don't go to a school just because of the name of the school and then spend all the money you have, or the stipend becomes insufficient for you to study. Except if you have a backup plan from home that will be sending you money while you are studying, something like that. If you don't, consider the cost of living in the area of the school. You don't need to consider tuition, because PTDF takes care of the tuition. Even if the school charges £100,000 per session and PTDF has that school as a partner, they will pay. If they charge 15,000, they will pay. If they charge 13, they will pay. If they charge 18 or 28, they will pay. So you are thinking about the cost of living in that neighborhood of the school. That's one. Number two is, what is the present economy of that country, and what is the future of the economy of the country? If the economy of the country is going to accommodate you, does the country's economy in the present have a place for your course? Like, if you're going to study some courses, look at the end of this course, can I stay back? If I stay back, will there be a job for me to do? People on Facebook, I'm coming to you, please. Will there be a job for me to do? If there is no job in that country, then think about the next possible country. That's if you don't have the possibility of returning back immediately after your studies. If you want to stay back in the new country and then explore, gain some work experience, think about these things. If you think about these three things I mentioned now, you won't get it wrong, because it will be challenging for me to give everyone advice on go to UK, go to Germany, go to this place, go to that place. But like this person I told you is in France now. We had some discussions about his course. I think at the time, we had a number of discussions around it, and he went to France eventually, and he's not complaining in France as he is there. Somebody says, between UK, Malaysia, France, and Germany, which one is more competitive regarding PTDF scholarship? I think I already answered this. In the past, it used to be UK. In previous years, it was UK, because like I mentioned, it's just two blocks. UK is a block on its own. The other three countries form one block on their own. But I think it might change because of the introduction of these split programs. That's at the PhD level for UK. At the master's degree level, the competition is going to remain the same. It's not changing. It's going to be, UK will always be more competitive because many people want to come here and all that and all that. Do UK universities require paying application fee before securing admission? No. The UK is one country where you can secure 20 admissions without paying $1. Nobody charges, except I think if you apply through UCAS. There's one organization called UCAS. I really don't know. I've really never taken time to study what they do. But I think if you apply through UCAS, then you have to pay. But if you apply directly by yourself on your own, You're not going to pay anybody anything to gain admission into a UK university. So people on YouTube, let's take a little break and then answer questions from Facebook. The people on Facebook have been learning from your questions. So you stay around and learn from the questions of those who are watching us on Facebook. Facebook people, are you people here? I decided to allow you benefit from the question and answer session directly on Facebook because I know that many people will not be able to join on YouTube. I was asking on YouTube, but it's like you didn't see the question. Is it only the 3 points you highlighted that should be discussed on the SOP? What about your research experience and postgraduate plan? Okay, so this is from Jonathan. Now, the reason they highlighted those 3 is not to say that this must be the only 3 you discuss, but any other thing you discuss and you have not addressed those 3 points won't qualify you for the PTDF scholarship. So if you go on to talk about your research experience, your graduation plans and all that, if that graduation plan is not saying something about usefulness to Nigeria, is not saying something about usefulness to the oil and gas industry in Nigeria, then it's not a good graduation plan. Don't talk about it. So it's in the framework of everything you are writing, and it's good you brought up this question. So if I'm talking about the relevance of my course to the Nigerian economy is part of my graduation plan or my plans after graduation, because I'm going to say something like, at the end of my course or after the completion of this course is going to help the country this way. If the knowledge from the course is going to help the country, I am the one that is going to be deploying that knowledge. If I want to take up a PhD after the course, I am also going to say that at the end of this master's, I want to go for a PhD to improve myself further, to be able to help Nigeria better. I'm not saying you should quote my words word for word. You need to sit down, think about it, and then come up with something that is going to be convincing enough. But the point of the matter is that you must address those key things. Those key elements must resonate in your SOP. They must resonate. Even in your research proposal, they must resonate. They must be seen there. Anybody reading through it, it's not like you come and do section 1, why the course section 2. No, it's going to be a continuous flow, but let that flow highlight those things. Let it touch on those things. Your research experience, for instance, can be the reason why you are choosing the course, because you already have experience in this, you are well prepared, you know this, and all of these things you are well prepared to take up this course. You know that if you take up the course, you're going to succeed in it because you already have experience in this and that and that and that. That could be a part of the reasons for choosing the course. Then the other part, you said something about, okay, so I think those are the 2 things. Your post-graduation plan should be relevant to the country's economy and to the oil and gas industry. Your research experience can go in as part of the reasons why you are choosing the course. So it's not like, I believe you get what I'm trying to say, but that's just the way it is. Somebody is saying, Kolowale, I want to come to Aberdeen. I'm a mechanical engineering graduate. Should I be particular in choosing the course I am going for? Mechanical engineering is one engineering area that can work in almost every field. You can work in oil and gas, you can work in production plants, you can work in everywhere, manufacturing and all that and all that and all that. So if you're coming to Aberdeen for mechanical engineering, you are very welcome. You don't need to, you can hold on to the mechanical engineering, or you can look for an area of, okay, you can hold on to the mechanical engineering and then do your projects in something that is related to the field you want to work in. If you want to work in oil and gas engineering, you can do your graduation project and make it relevant to oil and gas. You can do your graduation project and make it relevant to hydrogen, because that's another area where the UK is pumping a lot of money into. As a general advice, I would say when doing your master's degree thesis or project, try to take off a project that can put one foot into another area that has high funding opportunities at the level of a PhD. It can be in the area of wind energy, and it can even be material science, anything. But if you are doing mechanical engineering and you intend to come to Aberdeen, by all means, Aberdeen is not a bad place to come to. It has its ups, it has its downs, but one of the things I must say is Aberdeen is one of the cheapest cities to live in the UK. Not there could be other cheaper places, but I mean cities that have a level of life around it. Yeah, it's a bit saturated in terms of student job opportunities because there are two universities and the city is relatively small. But in terms of cost of living, it's much cheaper than Manchester. In terms of what again? Yeah, proximity to the oil and gas industry, that's another big advantage and all that. But in terms of how many students jobs you can find, you have more student jobs in places like London and Manchester or even Glasgow than you have in Aberdeen. That's just the truth of it. I think I might need to do a series of videos on Aberdeen so that people can make some guided choices. Mustafa is saying, I am a biochemistry graduate. Which course should I apply, which is related to oil and gas? So, like, if you followed the discussion from the beginning, my knowledge of biochemistry chemistry is limited, but I would say that there is something in oil and gas, offshore oil and gas, that is called studies that try to understand the impact of oil and gas on biodiversity. That's the live and is it biochem? There's a name that is called, but like trying to understand the impact of oil and gas operations. That is, if you are going for a PhD anyway, around the impact of oil and gas on the biodiversity, the organisms, and all those kind of things around those oil and gas installations. That's an area that I could look into. But if you take what you already studied and then ask ChatGPT that what can I study that is going to be relevant to oil and gas and why, it's going to give you an idea, and then you can develop that idea into something that is convincing enough. Never, as a student, copy and paste from any of the AI tools. It's going to be counted as plagiarism, and that's not going to be helpful to you. Any other question? We're already overrunning our time by 10 minutes, but I'll be gracious enough to answer one more question before we call it a day. The guys on Facebook, I think I may have missed some comments on Facebook. So if I have not answered your question and you asked that question, please remind me, call my attention back to it. Let me see the question. Call my attention back to it, please, if I have missed it. If I missed your question on YouTube, please call my attention back to the question. But I believe that this was a very good event for you. And all I want to say is that I wish you well. My prayer for everyone who has joined us today is that your application will be accepted and you will be shortlisted for the interview and you will eventually win this scholarship. It's a great scholarship. Give it your best. Don't play around with it. It's something very, very good. It has the capacity to change your life and to change the history of your family if you are coming from a background that is not already established. I mean what I am saying. And I say this as somebody who is on the inside, somebody who is on the scholarship, somebody who has friends who are on the scholarship, and somebody who understands the benefit of being on the scholarship. I know people who paid their fees by themselves, and I know how challenging it can be, especially in the UK. But the scholarship cuts off that stress from you. So this is Academy of Scholarships and Transitions. So I'm going to see us again on the PTDF scholarship when the short list of candidates come. The way I do it on a yearly basis is try to do 3 events. One at this interview application stage, one in preparation for the interviews, and then we are going to discuss the strategies of how you can prepare for the interview, what you need to do, what they're going to be asking about, and all that, what you can change, what you can't change. And then, if time permits me, I like to also do another event for those who will be coming to the UK after they've won the scholarship. That's when I can go into the details of the benefits of this city, life in the UK, how to find a house in the UK, where to search for a house, how to do this and do that. Because I'm not in France, I really don't know how to find houses in France much. But when that time comes, I think what we might do eventually is to invite somebody who is in France at the moment, invite somebody in Germany, invite somebody in Malaysia, and then that will make a more comprehensive sense. For now, this is Academy of Scholarships and Transitions. Somebody says, will PTDF allow their beneficiaries to gain some work experience before returning back to Nigeria? Yes, except if something changes. But if nothing changes, yes, they will let you gain some work experience before you return to Nigeria. Back in the days, I don't know what the bond form says now, but it lets you stay and gain some work experience before you return. That's what I can say about it for now on this live stream. This is Academy of Scholarships and Transitions. My name is Chukwuemeka Augustine Okechukwu. Invite your friends to follow this page, and don't just follow us because of PTDF scholarship. I discuss a whole lot of other things that are going to be useful to you. I talk about professional networking, from the experience of me gaining professional jobs or securing professional jobs through professional networking. I call it weak ties, building profitable weak ties. And if you go through this page, you will find one video or a couple of videos that deal with networking. I teach people how to write CVs, and I teach people everything that will help you develop as a person. I even do tech reviews sometimes. If you go through this page, for instance, you'll find a video where I was teaching about how to set up double monitors in your house, to like in your home office and all that. And maybe today or tomorrow, I'm going to be posting a video on how to even repair the screen of your phone by yourself, because amongst other things that I do, I have done computer repairs and I fix most of the things that go wrong with my phone by myself. So there is quite a number of things that you can learn from me, especially on personal development, networking, and transitioning, and then scholarships. Transitions in the name of this page captures everything. Preparing yourself for the next big phase, whether in business or in school, in academics, in anything, personal development, and all that. You can even ask me about marriages, but I don't do marriage related content. But anyways, that's what you can gain here. Scroll through the page and see some of the videos that I've made in the past. Quite a number of them very interesting and very knowledge packed. You see, if you have listened to me very carefully, I think unconventionally sometimes. And that unconventional thinking is something that you can learn from me along with it. Thank you so much for joining us today, and then see you again on the next one. Watch out for other live events. You're going to see a number of them. This is me signing off after 16 minutes of extra time. Thank you so much. And let's say something good in the comment section. Let me see. Did you find it useful? Were your questions answered? Do you have any unanswered questions? Let me know in the comment section. Please check my question. I asked question regarding staying back or not. Yeah, I said I answered it. Oh, you can stay back on that PT. There is I can't discuss all the details of it now. Like, I'm not supposed to go into discussing or analyzing the bond that we signed with PTDF. But what you should know is that PTDF allows you to stay back if you are staying back to gain relevant work experience. I think that's the best way I should answer the question. We can talk more about it offline, but that's the much I can say on it on this live stream. Yeah, so let me know. Did you find it useful? Were your questions answered? Did you find time for the time? Did you find value for the time you spent here? Let me know in the comment section before I sign out. Do you think there is any other thing that could have done differently? Can we improve on this? Oh, somebody on Facebook is saying, does the scholarship cover courses with more than 1 year duration? For masters, it will cover the duration of a master's degree in the country you are going to. If the country you are going to, for instance, is Germany, and they are taking or they are giving a master's after 2 years of study, PTDF will cover it. If you are coming to the UK and the master's degree is 1 year, PTDF cover 1 year. If your thought-based master's in the UK is a January start and it makes you stay for like 16 months in the UK, PTDF will cover it. But PTDF is not going to cover a 2-year master's degree program in the UK. That's the much I know. If they change anything, then that will be a new addition. Thank you so much. God's time is saying yes. This is very insightful. God bless you. Amen and amen. God bless you too. Any other person wanting to say something in the comment section before I leave? If not, then we will be signing off. God's time. I think I don't know if it's the network from your end, but I have answered that question 2 times, and for some reasons, it's not a question I should discuss so much in this live stream. But the reality is the PTDF lets you stay back if you are staying back to gain relevant work experience. I will put it just that way. Yeah. Obina is saying the session was insightful and motivating. Thank you so much. Any other comments? Any other statements? Was it helpful? Was it useful? Please, can you share with me again? My data subscription was exhausted, so I was not around when you discussed the question asked. I heard you. I asked the second question when you are yet to answer. Okay. So, Chimobi, let me see if I can find your own question. Actually, we have discussed all the things we wanted to discuss. So this is just me staying back to give some bonus opportunity to answer any additional questions. If you think that all your questions have been answered, you can log out and save your data at this point. God bless you and God bless your applications. Say amen and let that be your portion. Chimobi, I'm trying to look for your question. I can't see it. Okay, Chimobi says, I am a civil engineering graduate, would be going for NYSC this year. What's your advice for me? Okay, so if you are going for NYSC this year, you obviously cannot be shortlisted for the PTDF scholarship. But as I mentioned, there are other scholarships, especially the graduate assistantship scholarships, that do not require NYSC. These are scholarships funded by institutions outside Nigeria. It's not like you can't win a scholarship to study abroad without NYSC, but you can't win the PTDF scholarship to study abroad without your NYSC. You must complete NYSC before they can shortlist you. However, PTDF is a cyclic scholarship, or is one of the cyclic scholarships that exist. Again, if anybody is on this live stream and you don't know about the different types of scholarships that are available, there is a video here 2 hours long that discussed all the different categories of scholarships, the strategies for winning each category of scholarship. I know many of us are coming across my videos for the first time, but we do quite a lot. So you can go watch that video. It's called, that's if you just load this page, that's the video that we're playing automatically. It has everything you need to know about the types of scholarships and how to win each of those categories of scholarships. So though many of those scholarships discussed there will not require NYSC from you, but for PTDF you must have NYSC. Now, you can use the PTDF platform to train on how to apply for scholarships. All right. You can also take the advantage of this period to gather the relevant documents that you need for any other scholarship application, because there are many scholarships that will be coming. If you are from the Niger Delta area, for instance, there are even more scholarships for people in the Niger Delta that is not PTDF. NDDC, I think the application closed some months ago. AGIP has been open for a while. I think it's closing soon, or it has closed, and a whole lot of other scholarships. But all the graduate assistantships funded by foreign institutions, you don't need NYSC. And that should be a good starting point for you. We discussed all the things you need in that particular video. But PTDF is cyclic, like I said. So if you practice this year, or if you have been on this live stream today, then you already know how to think and get yourself ready for next year, because the application process is not going, it has not changed in the past. It hasn't. The only change that has happened since 2019 till now is that they stopped requiring academic awards and started requiring professional body memberships. That's mainly the only thing that has changed in that time frame. All the other things have remained pretty much constant until this year, when the UK now started, they started this split program within the UK. Yeah, but that's pretty much what it is. And if you invite your friends to follow this page or to subscribe to this page, you will have done great service to those friends. If you doubt, look at all the videos that we have been making. This is Academy of Scholarships and Transitions. Augustine Chukwemeka is my name, and I will be signing out just now. Thank you so much, and God bless every one of you. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and then do the best you can. Trust God, and God will see you through. Thank you so much, and do have a very nice weekend. Bye bye for now.